Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Kuntal from Gargi College, University of Delhi. Today we are going to talk about biotherapy of protozoan diseases under the paper Molecular Therapeutics. This module focuses on a range of innovative research, recent developments and biotherapies available to ensure the essential treatment against major human parasitic protozoan diseases such as giardiasis, amoebiasis, trypanosomiasis, toxoplasmosis and leishmaniasis. Uh, as all of you know, near about 500 million people are affected by protozoan parasites throughout the world. By this module, you would be able to understand and discuss about the different types of treatments available for treatment of the protozoan infections. You will know about the preventive measures which must be adopted and challenges and limitations faced by the medical community to overcome. The therapy of protozoan diseases varies and intent of disease may be unmanageable due to lengthy treatment courses. The treatment of protozoan disease needs a complex interaction of activities in the fields of health and medical science. Protozoa present a wide range of health outcomes and diseases in different geographic zones, specifically in tropics and subtropics from developing countries. The knowledge of protozoa biology leads to develop strategies to decrease the burden on human society. Therapy varies and intent of disease also unmanageable due to lengthy treatment courses. The treatment or biotherapy needs a complex interaction of activities in the fields of health and medical sciences. However, distribution and control of protozoan is unsatisfactory due to difficulties of vector control, while the advancement in the development of vaccine tends to be slow and arduous. Currently, the biotherapy remains essential part of both clinical management and disease control program in the endemic areas. Different strategies have been defined to develop new drugs facilitated by advances in sciences, especially in the field of parasite genomics, chemistry methodology and bioinformatic tools for the treatment of protozoans infections. Now we can discuss about the biotherapy of amoebiasis. As all of you know that amoebiasis is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. It is a gastrointestinal infection. Some effective drugs are not yet available. It can be treated either by supportive measures or medications and preventive measures. Replacement of fluids, electrolytes and blood can be supportive treatments as per the requirement. Medications such as metronidazole or nitroxazoxide are effective in combination. The dose of antibiotics is given as per disease such as tissue amoebocytes or luminal amoebocytes. Other drugs also include tinidazole, onidazole, aromomycin and chloroquine. Amoebiasis is treated by different combination of doses. Medications such as metronidazole or nitazoxanide are effective in combination. The dose of antibiotics is given as per disease, such as tissue amoebocytes or luminal amoebocytes. Other drugs include tinidazole, onidazole, aromomycin and chloroquine. Approximately 90% of patients with mild to moderate amoebic colitis respond well to nitramidazole therapy because intraluminal parasites are not affected by nitrimidazoles. To prevent a relapse, nitramidazole therapy for amoebic colitis should be followed by treatment with a luminal agent like paromomycin or diloxanide fluoride. Chloroquine has also been used for patients with hepatic amoebiasis. Surgery can be required in case of massive GI bleeding or perforated amoebic colitis. Most of these drugs are prescribed in high dose and they are bitter in taste, which result in poor patient compliance. So in the present study, nano suspensions was developed for oral delivery using tinidazole as model drugs, which improve its dissolution rate and hence bioavailability. Preventive measures for amoebiasis include maintaining personal hygiene, good sanitation, especially the sanitary disposal of feces. Proper education of food handlers and education must be provided to the people about risk of sexual practices. Infected individuals should be advised to stay separately away for the period of recovery. The giardiasis is treated by metronidazole, which is commonly prescribed antibiotic for this condition, but many failure rates are also associated. There are also other drugs available like atibrine, chloroquine, and acranil. The giardiasis is treated by a different combination of drugs. Treatment of giardiasis. Giardiasis is treated by metronidazole. It is very commonly prescribed antibiotic for this condition, but many failure rates are also associated with it in clearing parasites from the gut. Other effective drugs for the treatment of giardiasis are also available like atibrine, chloroquine, and acranil. In addition, supportive care can be provided by fluid and electrolyte replacement. The preventive measures against giardiasis are to maintain a good hygiene before eating and drinking. Infected persons should avoid taking contaminated water or food. Children with diarrhea should not swim, or swimming pools can also be a source of infection. Treatment for giardiasis and amoebiasis are discussed in this table. Tinidazole and nitrous oxides are specially prescribed for giardiasis. Tinidazole is prescribed in first-line treatment and nitazoxide is prescribed in second-line treatment. There are many adverse effects of these drugs like anorexia, nausea, neuropathy, seizures, neutropenia, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. For amoebiasis, diloxanide is prescribed as second-line treatment. 500 mg orally 3 times per day can be given, but it is commercially unavailable in the US and can be available through about India. But adverse effects of these drugs are same like nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and headache. Metronidazole is combined with tinidazole, or combined dose of metronidazole or tinidazole is prescribed for amoebic colitis. In case of amoebic liver abscess, the dose is different, 750 mg orally or 3 times daily or 2 gram orally once a day. Length of metronidazole or tinidazole component of therapy depends on the type of disease. Some of the most effective home remedies for giardiasis are available, which include the use of garlic, long pepper, oregano grape, grapefruit, beet juice, horseradish, gold's meal, wormwood, pumpkin seeds, coconut, onion, and birch. Biotherapy of trypanosomiasis. Trypanosomiasis. It is of two types, early stage and late stage. The early stage of African trypanosomiasis caused by TB gambians is treated by pentamidine and suramine. Pentadimine is widely available in US, and the other combined drugs are also given like melasporol, elfluorthine, and nifurtimox, which are used to treat African trypanosomiasis. Pentadimine is given intramuscularly and can cause hepatitis, leukopenia, hypertension, hypoglycemia, and pancreatitis. Suramine is used for second-line treatment of early-stage disease. It is active against Oncocinera volvulus, and reactions from dying parasites can occur in infected patients. Patients undergo serial examination for 2 years so that relapse can be detected. African trypanosomiasis and American trypanosomiasis are treated separately. Dose for both diseases are different. Eflornithine and melarsoprol are the preferred drugs for late-stage TB Gambian's disease. Adverse effects of this drug can include diarrhea, fever, hypertension, rash, peripheral neuropathy, myelosuppression, and thrombocytopenia. American trypanosomiasis or Chagas disease is treated by nitroheterocyclic compounds, nifurtimox and benidazole. Benidazole is generally considered drug of choice. It may increases phagocytosis, and adverse effect can be vomiting, myelosuppression, anorexia, and dermatitis. Clinicians should monitor CBCS as well as liver and renal function test results during treatment. Mechanism of action of nifurtimox is not well explained till now. Medication and dosage. For the first-line treatment and second-line treatment of early and late-stage trypanosomiasis are described in this table. The treatment for trypanosomiasis is discussed in this table. Melarsoprol is given in case of systematic protozoa infection. The dose is 2.0 to 3.6 mg for 3 days, and it can be repeated after 7 days and then again completion of the second course. In case of American trypanosomiasis, the benzimidazole is given for first line treatment. The 2.5 to 3.5 milligram is given orally twice a day for 60 days, and the adverse effects of this drug are nausea, vomiting, anorexia, insomnia, and neuropathy dermatitis. Nifurtimox 2-3 milligram per kg orally given every 6 to 8 hours for 90 days, which is very effective treatment against American trypanosomiasis or Chagas disease. The preventive measures for trypanosomiasis include wearing long sleeve shirts and pants of medium weight material so that the bite of tsetse fly can be avoided, as tsetse flies are attracted to the bright or dark colors. And preventive measures also include to minimize contact with the tsetse fly. Biotherapy of leishmaniasis. Leishmania donovani causes visceral leishmaniasis or kala azar. Antimony compounds help in treatment. Aminositiburia, neositoboson, solistoboson, and urea stibasamine are most effective drugs. Cutaneous and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis can be treated with oral maltofosine but cannot be given to a pregnant woman. There are different dosage of different antibiotics are available. For example, fluconazole, 200 mg of fluconazole can be given orally for 6 weeks, which can be effective against L. leishmania major. And pentavalent antimonials are also effective against L. tropica and L. infantum. Different dose for both pentavalent antimonials are prescribed. For example, 20 mg per day intramuscularly or intravenously for 10 to 20 days, or another dose is 15 to 20 mg per day intramuscularly for 50 days to treat leishmaniasis recidivans. When we talk about treatment of leishmaniasis, there are some medications like amphotericin B and pentamidine and fluconazole are orally administered drugs. Ketoconazole and etraconazole are also effective in treating leishmaniasis in different areas. 40 to 60% patients with visceral leishmaniasis are resistant to antimonial drugs. So, in this, there is requirement of phase 2 trial in which 50 to 90% of patients with visceral leishmaniasis are cured by acetaminophen. For treatment of leishmaniasis, the most effective drug is amphotericin, liposomal amphotericin. The dose is different and sodium thibogluconate is given as second line of treatment, and the prescribed dose can be 20 mg per kilogram once a day for 28 days, or the dose for paromomycin can be 15 mg per kilogram for 21 days. The adverse effect of these drugs are nephrotoxicity, nausea, vomiting, headache, diarrhea, or hepatitis. For cutaneous leishmaniasis, sodium stipogluconate is prescribed. The dose is 20 mg per kilogram for 20 days, and the adverse effects can be abdominal pain, pancreatitis, hepatitis, or ECG abnormalities. Personal preventive measures for leishmaniasis include to minimize outdoor activities, to apply insect repellent, to expose skin, and to wear protective clothing. We can also suppress the reservoir like dogs, rats, and other small mammals and rodents. Or sandfly by critical or preventing disease in stationary true populations. Biotherapy of malaria. Treatment of malaria can be done by both oral drugs or intravenous injections. The drugs used in the treatment are dynamic against the parasite forms in the blood. The treatment of malaria depends on many factors like status of the host, associated conditions of the disease, or types of the infection. Chloroquine, Proquan, lumefantrine, mefloquine, quinine are the common drugs which are prescribed for the treatment of malaria. The control of malaria involves control of 3 living beings and their environment. First, men, who is the host target of mosquitoes which are moving, highly adaptable, and have show resistance to the insecticide. It is therefore important to target non-flying eggs and larvae. The parasite also is highly adaptable, hides in humans and mosquitoes, and has also developed resistance to the drugs. Therefore, for effective malaria control, we must target man first, then we must control mosquitoes, nest, and keep trying to tackle the parasite with development of effective drugs and vaccines. There are several broad-spectrum antibiotics are established against malaria. Chloroquine being the drug of choice for infections that are susceptible to this drug. Atovaquone, proguanil, artemether, lumefantrine, or oral quinine plus doxycycline are preferred treatment for uncomplicated P. falciparum malaria acquired in areas with chloroquine resistance. Well-tolerated oral fixed dose combination is atovaquone proguanil. Many other drugs are also used in treatment of malaria like cinchona alkaloids, quinoline methanol, antibiotics like tetracycline, doxycycline, clindamycin, which are very effective for the treatment of malaria. Dosage for treatment of different types of malaria are discussed in this diagram. Medication and dosage for first line treatment and second line treatment of different types of malaria are discussed in this table. Preventive measures against malaria include awareness, use of insect repellents, and anti-malarial medications. If we can prevent bite of mosquitoes, then malaria can be prevented, and it can be done with the help of insect repellent creams, insecticides, treated nets, wearing trousers, long sleeves, etc. Anti-malarial medications are available like chemoprophylaxis, which is to take preventive medication. We must talk to our healthcare before taking anti-malarial medications. Biotherapy of Balantidiasis. Balantidiasis is caused by Balantidium coli, and this infection can be treated with the help of antibiotics like tetracycline, metronidazole, and idoquinol. Balantidiasis is also treated with the tetracyclines or metronidazole. Other drugs are paromomycin or idoquinol. Tetracycline is not prescribed in pregnancy and lactation. There are also alternative drugs available for treatment of balantidiasis like quinacrine and furosemide. And the preventive measures against balantidiasis are good personal hygiene, to take boiled water, and the food handlers should maintain proper hygiene. Biotherapy of toxoplasmosis. The treatment for toxoplasmosis consists of oral medication and supportive care. Many different treatment options are also available. Combined dose of pyrimethamine and sulfonamide is effective. Clindamycin dose is 12.5 mg per kilogram for 14 to 28 days. It is very effective against dogs and cats. Pyrimethamine and sulfadiazine combined dose is 0.25 to 0.5 mg for 14 to 28 days. It is widely used for the treatment of toxoplasmosis and beneficial in acute stage of the disease. Spiramycin and leucovorin is given to reduce transmission of parasites from mother to fetus. Additional drugs are also available for use includes clindamycin, cotrimoxazole, azithromycin, or atovaquone. Sparomycin is very common drug which is used in France to treat pregnant women to minimize the effects of congenital toxoplasmosis. It is very helpful in preventing relapse of neurotoxoplasmosis in immunosuppressed patients. Medication and dosage for the first line treatment and second line treatment of toxoplasmosis are discussed in this table. Pyrimethamine, sulfamdamine, TMP-SMX. TMP-SMX is used for the second line treatment when there is no effect from pyrimethamine and sulfamdamine. Toxoplasmosis can be prevented by taking some measures like drinking purified water, proper food handling, careful disposal of feces, and monitoring the contacts of balantidiasis patients. For that purpose, we must wear gloves and wash hands thoroughly after working with soil or cat litter. The food should be properly washed. There should be no soil contamination. And pregnant women should avoid contact with possible contaminants like cat litter, soil, and raw meat. No vaccine is available for toxoplasmosis in animals or humans till now. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Pathogenic protozoans cause extensive health, economic and social impact. These diseases are dominant in particular tropical regions of the world, many of which are resource constrained. Unavailability of cheap and safe drugs and problem of drug resistant parasites is leading to research of new antiparasitic agents. When we talk about different treatments of malaria, leishmaniasis and Chagas disease, they have been improved due to recent advances and good options now available due to improvements in our pharmacy industry. Widespread infection have been decreased, and now it is very easy to understand for you the appropriate treatment for protozoan infection and to identify the adverse effects of antiparasitic therapies.